Yes, you can ask me a question. Are you recording now?
Just now, yeah.
Oh, well,
So the farm is in Nyabing,
Nyabing.
and how did that, where did it first come from?
Well, Christine's written quite a chapter in the book about it, but about 1907, I think, my grandfather and grandmother came back from, I think she had the date wrong, but about 1907, grandfather was supposed to have got the land, somehow land releases being made down there, so he got some. And
This is the Charlesley's.
Charlesley, and anyway, he called it Nampup. It was named after the place in Ceylon, I think, or in Ceylon. And my grandmother came on a ship, and she was down at Albany with the two children, which was Grandma Catherine and her brother Will. And so they lived at Albany until Grandpa had got this cottage built for them to come and.
So he went there first and cleared some land. Did he have to clear it?
He would be clearing it, but he would have had people doing it. He wasn't a worker. He wasn't a farm worker so much as a boss. I mean, he had the tea plantation, but he was the boss and everything.
So he had a little bit of money already.
So he must have got money from selling the place in India or Ceylon, I suppose. And so then they started off there, and then Uncle Dick was the first child born. He was the third child, first one born at Nyabing. So eventually, other people who had settled there, they decided they couldn't call it Nampup because it's too similar to Nanup. So it was named Nyabing. They didn't say where they got that name from. It must be an Aboriginal name. And then a couple of years later, Uncle Phil was born.
So he's the fourth.
He was the fourth one, and then I think Granny moved into some other part of the house. She wasn't going to have any more children. She was a very dignified lady type person from Scotland, and she wasn't. You knew the story that she came out to stay with her brother in Ceylon. He was living in Colombo, and she came out to visit him. I don't know why, she must have got sick of Scotland. And anyway, she got a job as governess to some of the youngest children of my grandfather, who had 8 children by his first wife, you see.
Oh, okay.
And that was okay until he got her pregnant. So that's when he had to move her to India, to Madras. And so Uncle Will was born there, and Grandma was born in Madras.
Okay.
And so then he...
And then eventually moved them to Albany.
And then, so they, of course, they weren't married. Nobody knew that. But, so it wasn't until his first wife died, when Grandma was about 5 or 6, I think.
Okay.
And so then they went to Perth and got married. But nobody knew.
So what about the 8 children?
Oh, the 8 children. I don't know what happened. Well, a couple of them came out to visit, I think.
So they were all still in Ceylon?
Yes, I think they were. But some of them might have gone. The first wife might have taken some of them back to England, I think.
So they didn't sort of stay and look after the tea plantation or anything?
Jack, one called Jack was the one running the tea plantation, so he was one of the sons, and he did, yes. I don't know what happened to all the others. There's probably some records somewhere about where they all went. If I look through all that, that's what will happen when I
get all in the Charlesley.
Get it all sorted out and find it. Yeah, so it was a fascinating story. I mean, I didn't find this out till I was quite old, in my teens, because Granny didn't want anybody to know, obviously.
Yeah.
I mean, she was this very highfalutin lady in Nyabing, and we lived there during the war for 6 months. I was 11. And oh yes, but then one woman must have found out because, God, I don't know when it was out long after that, but she got in touch and whether Granny had died by then or but I know she with Mum, she told her that, I know that, you were illegitimate and all that, and God, everybody was very upset.
Mm. Okay, so your granny and Kath and her brother went to Albany, and then they went to the farm.
Yes, so they came on a ship that I suppose it would go to Fremantle and then drop them at Albany.
Okay, so then they were living on the farm.
Yeah.
In this little farmhouse that they built. That
little cottage, and then they had built this better one up where the farm is now. The one made out of mud bricks, but the first one was
Okay, so there was a very old cottage.
Little cottage, yeah, and down not far from town where the Hobleys.
Okay. Is there any remains of that cottage?
No, that's completely gone.
Completely gone. So the town of Nyabing, I think I saw somewhere, is built on the land which is part of their land?
Yes, it was. It was all part of his, and then it was resumed so that they could build the town in the middle. So they must have had a fair bit of land to start with.
Yeah. Okay, so that was the original cottage, and then they built another, the mud brick farmhouse.
I didn't know that until I assume that's it from reading in that book something about, because Bill and Emmy, we used to go and visit them, and I thought he worked for my grandfather, but Christine doesn't mention in the story she wrote, but...
so they built the second farmhouse, the mud brick one, which is much better.
Yes, you've seen the picture on my dressing table, yes, that one.
Okay, and so they were farmers, and they farmed... What do they farm?
Oh, wheat and sheep.
Wheat and sheep.
Yes, it was quite good land, and he would have employed people to do it, and of course having the boys, once they got a bit bigger, they'd be doing a lot of the manual labour, I should think. Because he died, my grandfather died in 1932. I was only a year old, so I don't remember him at all. Then Uncle Will died when I was about 3 or 4, by this gunshot wound, and which was a shame. So then Uncle Dick ended up running the farm, which was okay, and he did a good job.
And your granny was still living there then?
She was living there with Uncle Dick, and then when we went there during the war, it was decided that she was getting a bit old to be looking after us, because when she was living there before, she always had a lady help, always had and actually we've been told in later years that Grandpa got her pregnant too. This helps. There's always somebody in the house helping, so Uncle Dick must have met Rita somewhere, but so she came to the farm to help look after us, you see, and after a little while Granny decided that she would move out, and she moved down into the town, into this, was a little house, belonged to the school teacher. It was a school teacher house, I think, or something like that, from memory, but then she ended up in the funny little cottage. But, so Rita, I quite liked Rita, but Mum didn't like her much. She was a little bit funny, I suppose. She'd been married before, and...
So it's in some point, then Kath she obviously grew up on the farm, and the photos of her and the horses and things on the farm.
Her name was also Effie Catherine, and her father called her Girlie when she was born, because she was a girlie, so she was mostly known as Girlie by everybody, until she started working in electrical goods, and she said her name was Kath.
So she must have then left the farm at some stage and come to Perth?
Oh, she did. Well, when she went to, Grandpa decided to move to KDENLIVE. And he bought this house. It was during the Depression, must have been not long before he died, maybe. It was called Pine Hill. And or Pinwerning, which I think he named after the house in India. They called it Pine Hill. And anyway, so that's where Grandma was living. In there, and Dad he worked for Dalgetty's, and he was transferred to KDENLIVE, and that's where she met him.
Oh, okay.
And then they got married.
Okay, and then where did they go?
Well, then he still got transferred around. When she got transferred to Beverly, and that's where I was born.
Okay.
And I remember at Narrabeen at one stage, and eventually Meriden, that's where we ended up before we came back to Perth. And but the unfortunate part was that because he was working with these people and farmers, after the sales they'd go into the pub and they'd all drink a lot, you see. That's when he started drinking, because he hadn't actually drunk very much. He'd been brought up as a Methodist and he didn't drink. But so then he just seemed to get into the habit of being always drunk. So that's how I remember mainly coming home from work always. He crashed the car, and then he lost his licence because 3 times he got caught for drunk driving, and he got transferred.
That'd be quite hard in those days.
Yeah, he got transferred to the Fremantle part of Dalgetty's and became very involved in the wool. Well, he was very good at his job, but just that he was too weak to see what he was doing.
So Kath really grew up. Well, she lived quite a lot as a country girl. I didn't realise that she'd lived so long out through the country.
Well, we didn't really come to Perth till 1939, I suppose. 38, maybe 38. So she would have been. Yeah, she wasn't a city person at all.
Yeah.
But I think she was always had plenty of nous. Being the one girl amongst 3 brothers, I think she would have been, not get pushed around. She was. So she did very well once she got into selling electrical stuff, and then she was the only female salesman in Perth.
So did she only start that when she came to Perth?
Oh yeah, she didn't start it till, wow.
So when you're in Meriden and things, she wasn't...
Oh no, she was just home, yeah. But always short of money, because Dad didn't give her very much housekeeping. And it was awful, really. And we lived in Hollywood first, and then when Uncle Eddie came over from Ceylon to visit, and he gave her £100 to buy a block of land, providing the house was put in her name. So that's when she bought the block of land in Netherlands.
So who was Uncle Eddie?
Well, that was Granny's brother.
Oh, okay.
Uncle Eddie, he's the one that was living in Colombo when she came out to visit him and stayed with him.
Okay.
During the war, he was the censor. They had to censor all the letters and everything. He was the censor during the war, I remember that. But he was sort of thinking of moving to Perth, but he came out to have a look, but I think he was discouraged because perhaps they thought he'd be a bit of a burden or something. But £100 doesn't sound much, but in those days it was, well, bought a block of land in Netherlands.
Yeah.
So, which was really very good.
Is that the one that house is on that is in the photo? So they built that house in Netherlands.
Second from the corner.
Was it Mount Joy?
Mount Joy Road, 68 Mount Joy Road.
It looked like a sort of dark brick sort of house.
Next door was the dark brick house. Now this was rendered white.
Okay.
Yeah, so that was very good. And then eventually, when she sold it, because she eventually left Dad and moved into a flat down in
Fairway.
Fairway, yeah, Eastern Flats.
Mm.
And eventually decided to sell it, and Fairway later, and she sold it for about less than $15,000.
And so then she bought the flat at Fairway?
Oh no, she built one over there in Como, next door to Norman Corsa.
But that was much later though, because she was in Fairway
yeah.
for a while.
Yes, but she had the house let out, you see.
Oh, okay. So she,
let to people. And
the one in Henley Street?
no, the one in Mountjoy.
Oh, okay, so she moved out of there and rented in
had
Fairway.
It rented out. And it was just renting one in Fairway. And
Fairway.
Sid said that he could build this house. The first time he built, so he built 3 units sort of on that block, or 4 maybe. 3 or 4. Anyway, Norma had one, Kath had one, and the other one they sold and made enough money to sort of pay off their mortgage and everything.
Okay.
So she, things looked up for her later in life.
I remember, it must have been when that was built, because there was a block next door with a big mulberry tree, and I just remember that we went there and climbed this big mulberry tree.
Oh, next door, was it on the corner?
On the corner, yeah, up away from the river, the next house up.
Yeah. Oh. Gee, I've had a lot of mulberries this year.
And then, so the farm, so eventually, so you all left the farm and went to Katanning, and then around and then through Merredin. So what happened with the farm then? That was being managed?
Oh, well, you see, Neville, Christine's
so when you left, it was being managed by Uncle
Dick had it.
Dick,
doing,
yeah.
And then I was more in that than I thought. But you see, we were only there for 6 months, and so by we went there 1992, not 1942, after Pearl Harbor and all that. And
Okay, so you got moved out to the farm.
so they said if people could send away children to the country, evacuate them, it would be a good idea. So
I see. So Kath, so you were born in
Beverly,
and then went to Merredin, and then ended up in Nedlands.
Yeah.
And then the war came, and you got sent back down to
to
Katanning.
Just loved it, because for the Christmas holidays I'd been down to the farm, I think with Murray, took him down, we went down, just the 2 of us, 2 little kids sitting on a train. You did that in those days, put them on a train, and then people met them at the other end. And when I thought that I'd be able to go and live on the farm, oh gosh, wonderful. So Ron was only 5, I think.
Yeah.
And I was 11. So off we went, and it was great. I didn't have to do much schoolwork. Granny was, she was supposed to be teaching me a bit, but had the desk, which Ron and Jerry have got now, of course, but that was my school desk, and was in this little room on the side of the house, and I've got a picture I took the other day of the school room. It looks a mess now, but
it seems funny though. So you're taken away. So Kath would have she was then on her own.
Oh yes, she got very lonely, and she came down to visit. She was going to take us home because she knew that it was safe enough. But when she got there, she found that they wouldn't have let her do that, because it looked as if she'd come down and found that she didn't like the way we were living or something, and that she came. So we had to stay a bit longer. And I thought, oh gee, I was dying to go back. Then I'd sort of had enough, and so we had to stay about another 3 weeks.
So did you have been old enough? Did you have to do farm chores or anything?
Not a lot. They did buy a cow, and I did learn to milk the cow. I would have help with the washing up and things. And Ron wouldn't have to help much, but go and collect the eggs, and not very much. No. But when you think in those days, the only water you had was 2 rainwater tanks where the water had come off the roof, You had to be very careful with water.
And you're saying you like going up on the rock up on
Oh
the...
yeah, getting tadpoles and wildflowers, everlasting. Yeah.
It was just a great life exploring
Oh, it
around.
was great. Then Uncle Dick would go and set rabbit traps, and we used to love going watching him set the rabbit traps, then go and get the dead rabbits. And then sometimes we'd take his morning tea out to him if he was ploughing up or seeding the paddocks near the house. Yeah, it was a great life,
Yeah.
Oh, I loved it. I look for, well, I can look back on that, but I remember it so well.
Yeah.
Yeah. Ron wouldn't remember as much because being 5,
Yeah.
he can remember bits, but
So you were only there, then you said, for
6 months.
6 months.
he used to listen to the kindergarten session.
Mm.
It's funny, going into the lounge room the other day, and it seemed a lot bigger in those days. There'd be this radio there, and I'd be telling him what to do because the things on the radio there for the kindergarten session.
Mm.
Yeah, oh yeah. And we had quite a big front room we shared that room, and Granny had the other room. And Uncle Dick slept out the back. There was this thing they made shearers' quarters. It had a couple of rooms, and then the room that had been Dick's, that's where Rita was sleeping. Then I can remember being fascinated, getting up early one morning, going out, and I could see that she was in bed with him in this room up in the shearers' quarter room where he used to sleep. Oh dear, not that I ever told them. Anyway, she was there to look after us, and I suppose she milked the cows and cooked the meals and everything.
Yeah.
Just a bit much for Granny to do it, I guess.
So if you went into town during that time, it would have been Nyabing you went into?
Down to Nyabing, yes, there was the little store, and once a week they'd bring out the extra groceries that had been ordered, and in those days, of course, during the war, it was a big shortage of lollies and chocolates or anything like that, but they'd get a little bit of a quota, but the woman wouldn't let me buy any until the other children who'd be at school at the moment would have get their share, sort of thing. And the other thing is, Granny used to run I wonder whether she was living on the farm some of the time. I thought she did move out with Rita. Maybe she moved out. She probably moved out when Dick and Rita got married. After we left, they got married, I think. Yes, Granny used to run this stall to raise money for the comfort fund for the soldiers. And people would bring donations, and she'd run it, and I'd help on it, selling things to people. I used to go to the CWA meetings. She was those days I think she was the one in charge of it, So she was definitely there. And that was great. It was just such a different life.
Yeah.
My first holiday after I'd started work, what did I do? I went down to the farm. I've got these photos where Neville was by then nearly 2 years old, and Christine was a little baby, and I've got a picture of me holding Christine. Neville, he was always a bit odd because his one eye was a bit funny, but he turned up at the, he lost the farm, you see, because he went off and disappeared, and Christine and Keith, her husband, were running it. They're doing a good job, and then suddenly Neville came back. He'd been in the eastern states and he got married to somebody, and so they had to move out. So they moved out into, and they were doing a bit of farming, helping at somebody else's farm, and living in Nyabing. Neville was running it, so his wife, I think Isabel, and they had 3 children altogether. And after a while, she kicked it. She just couldn't stand him, so she said she was going to leave him, and so he had to excuse me, sell the farm so that she could get a half share. This is the wife, and she moved to Bunbury.
Yeah.
And one time, one boy got in touch with Ron, and I went round to Ron's when they were living in Applecross, and this was the one grandson of Neville, and but he didn't keep in touch with us. He just wanted to know a bit about the family history. Anyway, Neville then we got divorced, and he went.
So he lost the farm because he sold it, not because he didn't manage it very well.
Well, he wasn't doing a very good job, according to what I was reading that Christine wrote in the book. He didn't. The sheep that Uncle Dick used to have, these very, very good fat lambs and sheep, and Neville wasn't doing that very well, so they got lost. They sort of went out of sheep, and I suppose he probably wasn't interested in trying to keep the farm going. He'd been away for years.
Yeah.
He just came back, but he just thought he was the son, so it was his, you know.
Yeah.
And whereas Christine and Keith had been doing a very good job. And so he eventually went up to Geraldton, he got divorced, he married somebody else, and then he had another child called, I think it's called John Charsley. And because Neville's name is Charsley, and then I think he got married for the third time. Anyway, I was interested to see him. I hadn't seen him for years, since he was quite young, and he looks just so like Uncle Dick. And anyway, Christine just said hello to him, but she wasn't going to have anything to do with him. Don't blame her. It was nice. So Christine now she was living in Canning for a number of years, but she's moved to Esperance now because two of her daughters live there. And I have met her up with her in Esperance when I've been on my bus trips down there. So that's good. She's my godchild too. I'm her godmother. Yeah. So there, I do remember a lot.
A lot about the farm, yeah.
So I could write a good story, couldn't I?
Yeah.
It's interesting reading what Christine had written in that book, and
yeah.
It's not perfect, but it's pretty good.